guts. All right, why? Because the 20th century was the most violent century in the history of mankind. Do you agree? Okay, so I got you through World War I, didn't I? You over? We over? We're done? Okay, World War I is over, right? Fine. You say to me, like, why, when, like, see, I'm only 15 years old, but World War I, World War II, why am I hearing all this shit? Because never before in the history of the world had people been used to this type of death count. Let that sink in for 1 second. It used to be in the Middle Ages, if you had a battle, a war, you might lose a couple thousand men. And if you lost a couple, don't forget the populations were much less. So if you lost a couple thousand, it hurt your culture. You agree? But you were losing a couple thousand. What's happening in 1915? You have the Battle of the Somme in France, and how many did you lose? 1 million in one battle. Here's the thing, you can't even envision 1 million of anything. I don't think anybody can. That's how many people were dying on a weekly basis over in Europe. So when you say to someone, why is World War I and World War II? That's the reason. Because the number of people getting blown up and shot up and killed, this was never done before. Human beings didn't know we could kill this quickly, but we did. So, I don't know, what kind of mood would you be if you were writing poetry and you just find out something about your fellow human beings that they could kill much better than I ever thought so? What kind of mood does that put you in? Not a good mood. In other words, it wasn't it. In other words, if somebody had cured cancer back in 1915, are you writing a different poem? Yeah. Yes, because then you're writing about man's potential. Then you're writing about all the good thing and all the things we do for each other. But instead, what you're writing, there was a battle yesterday where 1 million men died. What the hell do I write about? What the hell is wrong with these sons of bitches? How can you kill 1 million men and not want to just like stop the war? You mean we're going to kill 1 million men for 4 years? Yeah. And nobody cares? No. The hell is wrong with people? I don't know. We're freaked up. We're messed up. We're totally effed up. This is why the world wars are such a big thing. Nobody knew how screwed up we really were until you saw it in action. Try to clean up 1 million bodies.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about that.
That's what I'm saying. In other words, try to, right? Just when you, right? So, these are why the world wars are so big. You didn't know that we were such a bastard culture, race of people, but we are. Okay, 1918, the war ends. Now you're thinking, maybe we can get back on track. All right, maybe we can. Here's the problem. The problem is going to be Germany. In the Treaty of Versailles, Germany got their asses handed to them. Isn't that in your notes already? Yeah. Okay, it's in your notes, right? Okay, so now you have the Treaty of Versailles. Every time we had to fix, all right, when we fixed Europe, who did we smack? Germany. All right, we got to fix France, and we looked at Germany. We had to fix Russia. Germany. Do you see what I'm saying here? What's the problem with the world keeps smacking Germany? Why is it a big problem? Because Germany's not Lithuania. Because Germany is an A-list country, and I apologize to all my Lithuanian friends, but the fact is, Lithuania, and I'm going to say Lithuania, they have not played a big role on the world stage. Do you agree? I'm sure they're a great country, but they're not a major player. They're not America. They're not France. They're not Russia. So what I'm saying is, you can't take a major player and just keep smacking them. They're not used to it. They don't like it. They don't take it well. This is Germany. This is the land of Beethoven. This is the land of Beethoven, and you're smacking the shit out of me? How dare you? Okay, Germany is not going to take the Treaty of Versailles well. They're not in a good mood. Okay, number one. After the Treaty of Versailles is signed, what does Germany realize? They never got their day. They never got their day in the sun. So they're mad. It's like you were on the football team for 4 years, never scored 1 touchdown, and every one of your friends did. You start thinking, what? What's the matter with me type thing. Germany never got their day in the sun. Number two, Germany had to pay back and rebuild Europe. What did that do to the German economy? All right? It crushed it. Okay, stay with me. Write this down. They had no money after the Treaty of Versailles. Their country was devastated, and they had to rebuild Europe. Ready? Not only is your house screwed up, but you got to rebuild your neighbor's house, and you got about $15 in your wallet. So if you're in Germany, right? I realize now we're always going to be looked upon as a bad guy. Never have a bad son. Number two, we ain't got any money. Number three, we don't even have any army. We can't even look to be coming back soon. We got no army. And what's the fourth thing? I have no pride in myself whatsoever. If I'm a German, what am I thinking about my culture? We're awful. We're awful. We got no pride. I used to care about being German. I was the land of Beethoven. I was the land of Goethe. I was the land of all these great people. And all of a sudden, I'm the land of shit. I got no pride whatsoever. Okay. So after World War I, Germany is where? On the bottom of your shoes. Like a load of dog shit. Okay? That's Germany. What's the problem? Okay, they bring in a government called, you should know this, called the Weimar Republic. Here comes the new German government, because obviously the German Empire is out. The German Empire is gone. The Weimar Republic comes in. They're going to try to get Germany back on its feet. Here's the problem. They're ineffective, inefficient, and impotent. Ineffective, inefficient, impotent. You know what I mean by impotent? They just can't get the job done. Ineffective, inefficient, impotent. Meaning, okay, right? You're in Germany in 1920. You're hoping the Weimar Republic, your government, can get its shit together. Can they? No. They're ineffective. They're inefficient. They're impotent. They're not doing anything. So now it makes all this worse. Right? After 1918, 1919, 1920, 1921, 1922, 1923. Do you see where I'm going here? If you're German, what's happening? And the answer is nothing good. How many years have you got to sit here eating shit? Okay, but the fact is, this Weimar Republic was not making it happen. Okay, they go through the 1920s, not doing anything. All of a sudden, here comes 1929. What happens in America? Stock market crashes in America. 1929, stock market crashes in America. You should know enough now to know that what?
That's real bad.
That the stock market is where people with money invested. When they lost all their money, think about something. If the people who were rich lost all their money, what happened to the people that were poor? They got shit. In other words, it all fell down in the Great Depression, all right? The Great Depression, everything fell apart economically. Everything fell apart economically. Now, all right, talk to me 1 second. In America, right, we didn't owe people tons of money. In fact, we had tons of money. And even in America, you've heard of the Great Depression, right? Even in America, where we have tons of money, the stock market crashed and the Great Depression crushed our economy, right? What do you think that did to Germany? It was 10 times worse. Because they had no money to begin with, and they were trying to pay people back. When the stock market crashed, it was a worldwide thing. America barely got through it. Germany, whatever they had left was done. They're done. They're a third world country. You know what I mean? They're nothing. Okay. How do you know how bad it was? Worldwide, I'll give you one stat that you probably should remember. Unemployment was about 25% average around the world. All right? 25%. And you say to me, what? Is that a lot or a little? Okay. What's the unemployment rate in America today? What do you got? Give me a number. You got 8. Anybody else?
4.
What do you got?
25.
25?
32.
You got 4? Anybody?
32.
Okay, the answer is you're about 3.5%. Now, let this sink in. In America today, we have 3.5% unemployment. That means what? Out of every 100 people, 96.5 are working.
That's pretty good.
That's good, that's what I'm saying. Imagine if it were out of every 100 people, only 75 are working. Here's the biggest problem. Everything, okay, you might say to me, look, at least 75 are still working. Before the crash, you were making, let's say, $80,000. After the crash, you're picking bananas. You may be making what? 30,000, but you were making 80. So now, even though the 75% are working, they're not making what they used to. This is an absolute disaster for the world. Okay, bam, and it's especially a disaster for the Weimar Republic. Now, I'm trying to get across one thing to you, and that is how low Germany has sunk as a country. Okay, when you sink that low, what are you looking for? You're sitting there, a decade has passed. 19, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And you're looking for a savior. People, listen to me. People look for a savior even when you're making $1 million. Meaning, if I had $1 million, I'm still waiting on Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But imagine if you had $500,000. Okay, I'm still waiting on Jesus Christ. $250,000. All right, 100,000, 50,000, 25,000. Do you see how your need for a savior gets worse the lower you go with money? What kind of mood was Germany in at this point? In other words, what were they looking for? What were they looking for? Anything that would promise them or give them relief. What was his name? Hitler came in as the savior. Here comes Adolf Hitler. Okay? He comes in to a situation that probably couldn't be any worse. Now, what was Hitler brilliant about? Right? He was a great speaker. But what did he give the German people that they went, we like him? Go.
His speeches were like hours.
He was a great speaker. Right? He was charismatic. But it was something he did that, in other words, if you're all German, and I'm Hitler, all right, fine, I'm a great speaker, right? But I gave you something that you went, go. What? I gave you somebody to blame. I gave you somebody to blame. What did I say to you? World War I was not your fault. The world told you that what you did for those 4 years was an absolute abomination and you're the worst thing that ever happened. What did I give you? I gave you someone else to blame. Did you want that?
Yes.
Hell yeah! My God! Okay, so you're Hitler. One of his great geniuses realizing that what? Not only was he a great speaker, but in other words, as Germans, we've got to have somebody to blame. Because if we have to keep on blaming ourselves, we'll never come back. We'll never come back. By the way, it was their fault, but he just knew he knew that that's not what the German people needed. Okay, so he looked around the world and said, what? I got 2 people I'm going to throw under the bus. He threw on the communists. Now, all the communists lived in Russia. Do you agree?
Yeah.
All right, but Tilly, you know this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're Hitler, did you like communists?
No.
You hated their guts. And they all live in Russia. What's the problem? Why didn't he go after them right away?
Yeah.
Because in other words, A, I got no army, and B, I got news for you. It's far away and they're tough. So, if you're Hitler, I'll go get you sons of bitches later. And does he? He does. But who can he get early on? Who is not armed? Who is defenseless? Who can I get and beat the shit out of and just absolutely show jerk? He goes after the Jews. He goes after the Jews. I don't know. I just spelled it. He goes after the Jews.
What if I read that? I want to answer.
What, J-U-Z-E?
Yeah. Give me credit.
He goes after the Jews.
Well,
All right? Did the German people accept this sacrifice? They did. They did. To their everlasting shame. Right? I don't know. If you're German, I'm not trying to rub your face in it, but I don't know. I'm just saying. You know, this was you can do it that. You know, you all know about the 6 million Jews that died in the gas chambers in Holland, right? That's how much you need to escape with. I gotta let my German people know it wasn't their fault. So we're gonna kill 6 million of them. Anyway, now, Hitler's gonna introduce a new word into your consciousness. You know the word, Nazi, okay. You know it stands for National Socialist, right? Here's what I gotta get across to you. About a month ago, there was an American senator giving a speech where he talked about socialism, because right now it's a big thing in America. You know that? Okay, last month, one of our senators talked about socialism, and he gave a speech, and in it he referenced Hitler, and how bad Hitler was a socialist. I listened to him and thought, oh my God, we got some of the dumbest people in the world. Was Hitler a socialist? He was anything, oh wait, now you're scaring me. Do you know what a socialist is?
No.
Oh my God, okay, you've heard of communism. Wait, but you've heard of communism.
Yes.
Okay, socialism is one step away from communism. All right, if I'm a communist, socialism's here. We're like, I'm only one step away. Where's capitalism on that scale? On the economic scale, I'm a communist or a socialist. Where's capitalism? If I'm on the left, where's capitalism?
Right.
I'm way over there. That's why we don't like each other. You know what capitalism is? Every man for himself, right? A free market economy. If I want to sell shoes, $87 a pair. Is it worth that? It doesn't matter. If someone's willing to pay $87, I win. Do you know what socialism is? Socialism is kind of like a government-run economy. In other words, public schools are a socialist thing. Our school is more capitalistic.
Ours?
Yeah, think about it. In other words, money.
Yeah.
We make no bones. We're trying to train you for a good tomorrow so you make more money. I hope you're a good Catholic too. But the public school system is a socialist thing. Is it? I don't know. What's it mean? The government gets involved
Oh.
and just basically they take ownership of. How about the postal system in America? Socialism. The government owns the post office. Now here's what's weird about it. Why don't we privatize the post office? Because I got news for you. FedEx and UPS could take over the post office tomorrow and do a better job.
Oh,
Go.
a lot of,
A lot of government employees got you. A lot of government employees, right, are votes for a certain party. In other words, why don't we get rid of right, I think someone said last month the post office lost more money than they've ever lost in the history of the post office. They lost like $3 billion last month. By the way, that's your money. That's your tax dollars, your parents, me, you. We all paid for that. We lost $3 billion last month on the post office alone. You should say to me, why don't we just get rid of it and let FedEx deliver the mail? Why don't we?
Taxes.
Because basically, well, here's the thing. Basically, that's a lot of, all the people that work for the post office, they vote a certain way. And there's a certain party in power that wants that vote. So we don't get rid of the post office. I'm just saying. Socialism is when the government steps in and owns a lot. Capitalism, government's about this big. All I want my government to do is make sure the roads are open, and if there's a natural disaster, fix it, and if a country attacks us, fight them. That's all I want my government to do. In socialism, the government's how big? It's this big. I want them to run the post office, I want them to run the school system, I want them to run everything. Government this big, government this big. Okay, now, Hitler, okay, the last thing he was a socialist. So why did he pick a word that means National Socialism? Even though he wasn't a socialist,
The whole country would.
the country thought. In other words, it was basically a lie. If I said to you, see this thing here? That's a Mercedes-Benz.
Wow.
You'd go, right? You'd go like, well, no, that looks like a stick. If I tell you enough it's a Mercedes-Benz, at some point you don't give a shit. You just know, right?
Wow.
Hitler keeps trotting out this word Nazi, National Socialism. And you think, at some point, as people, the government will step in and give you food. The government will step in and give you this. The government will step in and give you that. The government will step in and give you that. Was Hitler smart in doing that? Yeah. When the people had nothing, and Hitler stepped in and called himself a National Socialist, the people were much more likely to get in line behind Hitler, because they thought they'd get more shit. Hitler wanted nothing to do with socialism. It's, first of all, it's only this far from communism, and he definitely hated them. So why did he do it? Just to kind of reel people in. What was Hitler as far as politics? Starts with an F, why was fascism? He was a fascist. He was a fat fascist. He was way on the right side of the political spectrum. He's like a dictator. The last thing he was going to do was share anything with that thing. He wanted to own everything. He wanted to run everything, not share it. Are you with me on that or not? Okay, I'll go.
I was gonna ask if you watch that video from that YouTube channel.
Ah, I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
Hold off on it. Do you know how long is the video?
it's like 13 minutes.
All right, hold off on it. We'll get it.
It's a good video.
All right, so, you're Hitler. You got a scapegoat. Hates communists, hates Jews. Tells the German people they lost World War I because of these two groups. Forms a Nazi party, all right? This party, in other words, these people stink. All of a sudden, if you're German, the National Socialists make you think you're going to get more bread than you've ever had. This party's looking worse and worse. Do you agree? Eventually, they kill the Weimar Republic and the Nazi party comes to power. And all of a sudden, we got you know what deja vu is, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we got deja vu all over again. Because what happens? Germany starts to build a military machine just like they did in World War I. And you feel like saying, excuse me, did we see this movie before? Haven't we seen this movie where Germany builds up a whole bunch of military and all the other countries do the same thing? And the answer is, yes, you've seen this movie before. Isn't it hard to believe that Europe could go through World War I and look at 40 million dead young men and then do what?
All over again.
and then do it all over again. It's like it's like you were playing with a bottle of soda one night, and you dropped a pill in it, and it blew up your neighbor's house, and your neighbor rebuilt his house, and next night you're back there playing with a bottle of water and dropped the pill in it again. Like, are you what the hell is the matter with you? All right, so at that point, deja vu all over again, here comes World War II. Looks a lot like World War I, except that's totally even higher. All right, we'll finish that up.